How do you preserve in a time of change? This series of Artist Ideas Now is talking to artists from Egypt and of Egyptian heritage about the climate crisis and the issues and narratives that interweave with it. I'm Laura Marie Brown, creative producer at Liverpool Arab Arts Festival and host of this series. Nadine Abdel Ghaffar is the curator and founder of Art d'Egypte. Creating work with sustainability in mind, her organisation works to preserve and create access to cultural heritage whilst presenting a contemporary view of Egypt to the world. We started by discussing why she set up Art d'Egypte.
There was a bit of a void, and it was very difficult to showcase, like big installations. Most of the spaces were apartments or white cube. So we decided to showcase this link, because there's a link, especially with Egyptian artists, with their heritage. We have so many layers of history: ancient Egyptian, the Ottoman Empire, and modern Egypt, contemporary Egypt. So by creating this fusion of old and new, we were able to showcase so much in Egypt, and this got immediately international attention. And for us, it was very important to have collectors not only see some of the contemporary art in their countries, but to have them fly into Egypt and see this in their home.
Forever is Now is a great example of that. Will you tell us a little bit about that and sort of how you approach that sense of, honouring cultural heritage?
So for sure. So it all started by trying to showcase only Egyptian artists. So we started at the Egyptian Museum at Tahrir, then Maniel Palace, then we took over an entire street, historic Cairo, and we were always portraying Egyptian artists. And then a couple of my friends who are international artists started telling me, but I am influenced by Egyptian heritage and I want to be part of this. So when the government permitted us to use, for the first time in history, in 4,500 years, the pyramids of Giza location, is the first internationally curated exhibition that happened in 4,000 years. So it was quite a big deal. We said that this can not only be for Egyptian artists, because this ancient civilization has influenced artists from around the world for many, many, many years. So it would be unfair, as this is a token of hope to humanity, this civilization that survived pandemics, wars, and the pyramids are still there after all that. And when we started contacting international artists, they were all, of course, so interested, because this is a civilization that they are in dialogue with anyway. So the artist became the translator of the past through the lens of us today. And that's why it went organically, it went viral organically. We had 500,000 visitors in less than 3 weeks. We had over 1 billion impressions, because even a normal, regular person that does not understand art interacted with these artworks. And I think this just shows the power of art, how a message can get through to the world through art.
That's really interesting, because I think that sense of how can cultural heritage and history help us understand a present day crisis like the environmental crisis?
Very true. So again, as you said, maybe there's not so much awareness in Egypt on, maybe we are doing things, but not really communicating what we're doing. So what we did in summer, we had a symposium with 7 Egyptian artists that went to factories these factories usually have like scrap material that they throw away. And this is not, good for the environment. So some of them have like, plastic cases for the import, when they export fruits or whatever. And so we had these artists go to visit these factories, take the material, and we had them work with the factories. So the factory owners started also understanding that, okay, we must do something about that. And they created beautiful artworks. Some of them were 6 meters high, some of them were higher. We might place some of them at COP27, hopefully in Sharm el-Sheikh. We are doing one of the exhibitions at the Egyptian Museum in Sharm el-Sheikh with some of these artworks. So the whole message behind that was to showcase that in preparation for Egypt hosting COP27, the artists are expressing how important climate change is and that it is really here. We can really see the change in weather, even in Egypt.
What's your fear around the impact of the climate crisis on cultural heritage? And I know, cultural heritage is something that is part and parcel of that Egyptian identity as well. What do you think of the impact of that will be?
Look, I think this is very important. And I know there's the American Research Center that has worked on a lot of things, including one of the monasteries, to show the impact of climate change on heritage sites. And how important it is, because then, those sites that have lived on for years will just be damaged due to climate change, due to us not doing something on a bigger scale to protect humanity and its heritage. So people are usually focused that climate change only impacts food and water, or economically some things, or geographically, but no, we must tap on. And I think especially in a country like Egypt, that is that Egypt has an amazing heritage. We have 7,000 years of history and so many layers and so many, like you have the Coptic heritage, you have the Islamic, you have the ancient Egyptian, you have the Greco-Roman. There are so many things to talk about. And this is so important. You have the flora and fauna. Look at the pyramids. The pyramids wasn't desert. So some of the artists also, for Forever is now part of our curatorial statement, taps on climate change. So you will see, I cannot unveil the artworks, you will see on the 27th of October, but some of them are really tapping on this subject. And why is climate change only, in most of the countries, we focus on certain things and we don't focus on its impact on heritage sites. This is important. And artists are here to express this importance in a different language, which is the language of art.
I think one of the things we noticed in the UK is that when COP came here for COP26, there is a big focus on it and everyone starts talking about it, particularly art organisations that might not have sustainability in the climate crisis as part of their programming all year round. What do you do in 2023, 2024, 2025? How do you, sustainability is such a ingrained part of your programming. How do you maintain it post-COP?
So we try our best. We've instilled since 2019 something called Guardians of Heritage. So when I go into a heritage site, part of the mandate of Art Egypt, we kind of work like a social enterprise, although we're a limited liability company. So a big part of what we do is, to democratize art. So we're there with the public. We don't talk to a certain certain people that are have to be cultured or know anything about art. No, we're down there. We go to the streets of Cairo and are there with everyone. And you can see that on our Instagram account of Art d'Egypte. We even have a mobile app, Art d'Egypte, or even the YouTube channel we have, which is Art d'Egypte official. So we started this program of Guardians of Heritage. So we took all these young people that live on the streets of historic Cairo, because I am there as a guest for a year. I work on the sites. We try to do in-kind donations. So we work on the tangible and the intangible. So the tangible, we do proper lighting, conservational lighting. We take the teams that work there to get training on how conservational lighting is, because mind you, in a lot of spaces, they still use halogen. Halogen eats up the artifacts. So it corrodes it. It's just faster, So we get those amazing young brains that come and do training with us in different companies that work with us. But if I do all that and the people themselves aren't aware of the importance of the cultural heritage, then that's a problem. So we've created a leg of cultural awareness where we get young people, so usually your university students, and they learn. A lot of them live there, but they don't know the history behind this building or that building. And when they see that ambassadors and ministers and people from around the world gather to see these amazing exhibitions with those amazing artists that work there, they start understanding the value. And they, in return, start telling their families, okay, we just renovated that. Please don't throw this. Please don't do that. Because, I mean, you would find people that would throw garbage on these sites. And so year on year, we try to upgrade ourselves a bit. And then we also launched a program for schools. Since we work with the UNESCO, so UNESCO works with some of the underprivileged schools, and most of them hadn't been to the pyramids before. So we take those young school children and believe that the younger you go and the younger you instill this idea of it is my duty as an Egyptian to take care of my heritage, then things will go much faster. So we do programs with those young children through the UNESCO as well, through games, of course, and like a fun day, which you will also find on our website, all these engagement programs and outreach programs we do. So I think in our own little way, we try to make a difference.
Artists' Ideas Now is produced by Liverpool Arab Arts Festival in collaboration with Artists on the Front Line. This series was supported by The Space and Arts Council England, with funding from the National Lottery. The producers are Laura Marie Brown and Zoe Lafferty. Executive producer is Sarah Fortescue. The series music is by Yara McAway and is called Feed on Wasted Energy from her LP 1963. For more information on this series and to find out more about each of the artists featured, go to arabartsfestival.com and explore the reading list for each episode.